to filter your way through that to try to convince them that you just want friends, okay? Bearing in mind that there's always going to be some tension. She broke off the friendship with him, but he continues to text her. He texted her for a while, and then when she told him to stop it, he quit, and then he started again. So what's the deal? Huh? You got to keep yourself out of trouble. And the way you keep yourself out of trouble is to think about what you're doing, think about how people are going to perceive things. Okay, what that was one of the female students got a text message from a male student, kind of what sounded like it might have been a threat, or it was just maybe not really a threat, but uncomfortable. Could be considered, telephone harassment. So my job is to talk to the kid, find out what he might have intended by that. What are you doing?
So you sore today?
You been lifting?
Oh yeah.
You all sore?
No, I got over that.
Oh, look at that!
I wasn't even flexing right there.
A little pec pump. Flex up. What's that? A whole thing of bubble gum. I help enforce some of the school rules and stuff. I'm kind of like a counselor because I talk to them about things, life problems and stuff like that. And to me personally, I can't think of anything more fulfilling short of when I was in active duty in the Air Force. I enjoy the job. I like working with the kids. This is a group, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders that need a lot of, attention and stuff because they're still formulating their characters. They're not really who they're going to become yet. And I see my role is to help them to become good citizens and do things, the right way. Why do we have a Declaration of Independence anyway? The first one of these things that says, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. So anyway, I think the thing that's important to remember is that it's hard to quantify exactly what it is that we do and how effective we are, because you can't put it on a graph how many crimes you prevented, or how many wrong choices you prevented, or how many right choices my presence or the presence of other SROs caused kids to enact. So you can't put it on a graph, but I think we SROs working in the schools are making a huge impact on the behavior of the kids and helping turn them into good citizens. Maybe next year.
Good. I know. Maybe next year.
They got a new coach, so we'll see what happens.
They did.
Okay, well that takes it for my day as a school resource officer here. Now I move into my coaching role, and we got a basketball game, and so I'm Coach Swift now for the rest of the day. I use my time after I get off duty to coach these guys, and hopefully we'll get a win for our first night. Take care.
Wow, way to make up stuff.
The fact that it was called unprecedented when the use of force board recommended that somebody be fired for shooting somebody because they thought his hat was a gun.
And we're back. Thank you for staying tuned in to us. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Clark County School District. This is the episode about all that. So, Kelly, what news? Do you have any news or information about any recent happenings with CCSD?
Well, they had the one that I talked about a little bit earlier. Yeah, and it was the kid. I saw this on Facebook. It was a photo that somebody posted to the Channel 13 page. And apparently it's the older sister of the girl involved in the actual incident. But what happened, according to this description on the photo, is she was trespassing at her own school, and it says in there Metro, which is why I kind of assume that like the school was closed, because otherwise it would probably be a school cop.
It says this is what the cops did to her. They broke her leg, and now she is at the hospital. She's only 11 years old. They beat her with their sticks. Yeah, so, I mean, that's just the picture on there. I wish we could put pictures over the radio and you could actually see them, but the picture on there is crazy because it's literally a little girl, and she's got like all this splints and cast and stuff on her leg, and it's her thigh also, which is the biggest bone in your body. So, you've got to do a little bit of work to break somebody's thigh bone. But like, what could
an 11-year-old girl do, or how could she evade the police's capture in a way that they would have to break a bone in order to, get her off school property, which, I wish I knew more about the story, but there's only the stuff from the photo. And I talked to the older sister who had taken the photo a little bit, but then she's also involved with a lawyer, and because of the case going on, they don't want to talk much about it.
Yeah, the lawyers told them to keep quiet now. I'm sure that they're a little worried with the police, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the police do have a habit of, or a history of retaliating against people. So they, that's something that a lot of people, when I've gone out and met victims, and it's usually like police shootings and stuff like that, but they have real issues where, they're going to the store and every time they turn around, there's a cop there or some stuff like that. So it's a valid...
Trying to kill them and run them over?
Well, I think it's more intimidation. It's just they follow them around, but yeah, sometimes they do hit you with cars. So, yeah. So, basically last year I got hit by a hit-and-run driver, and it was with somebody else that was involved in my case was hit the day before that. They were kind of...
I remember that there was like 3 activists locally that were all kind of like involved with hit and runs. Jen was one of them, I believe. There was you, and then who else?
Well, Ballantyne was also hit. That was a couple months later, but the one that hit Jen was a retired cop who was now working for a company that supplies equipment to the cops. So he had a real strong tie to the cops, obviously. And also, one of the people that got arrested with us in the chalking case, she got stopped by the cops that same day that Jen got hit, which is the day before I got hit. And they were calling her by name immediately without even running her license, which, they probably could get that from running the license plates, but they were also making comments about whether she had been out chalking and stuff like that. So they were making comments that you knew they were familiar with our case. And it was one of those things where they stopped her for following too closely, which is a really, easy excuse to stop somebody. And so there was also an incident after that on the Friday, which I believe I got hit on a Wednesday, and then the final incident was on a Friday. So within the space of about 4 days, there was 4 separate incidents involving people that were in our case.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I've met victims, and they've had stories like that. I know Trayvon Cole's family, after they got a settlement, they moved out of town because they were so intimidated by the cops.
Yeah, I can only imagine, especially like having the courage to speak up and tell the truth about your story and whatnot. That has to be scary in itself, because this town was built on the mob, but I always say we might as well go back to that. It might be better. At least you know who to pay off for sure.
Well, I always say that we still are. It's just the mob isn't dressing as good as they used to.
Right.
Yeah.
They have different uniforms now.
It's getting to the point where they make as much as the mob did.
Just about.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get in contact with that little girl's family, or at least the lawyer a little more, and get more on it. We'll keep everybody updated. If we find out information on it, we'll definitely let our audience know. If not on the radio show, on our Facebook page. Check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, what's the URL for that?
Radical Anarchist Revolution Radio. You can just Google that.
We'll post it in the event invite so that you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, that.
It's going to be the most happening page you've ever seen.
And we will know if you don't tune in.
Yeah. We'll track you down. Steal all your likes.
Right, steal all your likes. Hey, people buy their likes and shit. I just found that out. I was like, oh my goodness. How gay is that? And that's not gay in a good way. Did you see this new information about the school district having to pay over $30,000 because they banned this one student? She wanted to start a pro-life club, and they denied her. She was a 16-year-old student, and she was forbidden to start this anti-abortion club. They have to pay it now.
Yeah, and that's pretty clearly a violation of the First Amendment, which is something, if the schools were teaching, if they were really teaching people to be good citizens, at the very least, they would be teaching them in the Constitution, and that's a pretty solid, important one. So when you're saying, whether you agree with the issue or not, whether you're
right.
pro or anti-abortion, somebody being able to express their opinion of that shouldn't be excluded, especially from a government-funded school.
Exactly. If you allow one student to say one thing, it's got to be fair and balanced. And if you're going to have clubs and whatnot, you need to have it open. As long as it's not spreading hate or whatnot, then go for it. They have to pay it. And probably when I say the school district has to pay it, that means we get to pay for it, because our Clark County School District, they're just making lots of awesome decisions lately that are costing us a hell of a lot of money. But she was 16 years old, going to West Career and Technical Academy. I've never even heard of that. But,
yeah, it's weird. I don't know if it's... Did Western High School,
I don't know, but
disappear or something? Because maybe they turned it into a technical school.
Maybe, but instead it's here in Las Vegas. Another issue we wanted to hit on a little bit is what happens when something's going on in the area. When your kids are at school, you think they're safe and whatnot, and then let's say something happens in the neighborhood, there is a suicide or a person threatening to do suicide. Usually they put the whole neighborhood on lockdown. We actually got a little scare last week. It wasn't during day hours, it was nighttime. And there was probably about 20 different cop cars in my neighborhood and shining spotlights on every house and then choppers going around. But when they do stuff like this during the day in a neighborhood that has schools, they will sometimes lock down the schools. And it varies, I believe, on, if the cops, I guess, supposedly call the principal and it's the principal's decision to lock down the school. Have you heard anything about this? Or let's have Dave on. He knows.
So I guess being that I'm the producer of the show, along with the creator of this little tiny network that nobody listens to. But anyway, unless you guys are on, then they'll listen to the.
You get the listeners, baby.
Right. So they want me to, and maybe I should be one of those producers like they have on Howard Stern or one of the other shows where the producers will chime in and shit. But I already talk 9 hours a week or whatever. Fuck, my mic doesn't even sound that good. Maybe because it's echoing off the others. I don't know. But essentially, I'll give you guys this little bit of what I know about this, and then you can give your opinions. And this will also give me the opportunity, of course, to promote my show Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, Nonpartisan Liberty for All. And we promote the ideas of true freedom and liberty. So we're a little different than Tasha and Kelly's show, as their focus is Las Vegas. And what I wanted on the network was something that focused on Las Vegas. And, of course, they're two of the biggest Las Vegas activists that I know, and I actually know them as well, so that made it easier. then
That sounds bad. We don't know each other like
that
that.
what?
Nothing.
Your mic was turned down. So what was that?
Recreate that moment.
No, we don't need to go back.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to show that focused on